Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Shane Williams, along with George Porter.
Good evening.
Lance Dobbs here again with the stand on this 16th day of March 2017. A lot to cover again today. Another crazy week going on. We have a lot of mutiny happening within the government. We also have the budget. This recently just got proposed. We're also covering a lot more other news. But before we get into all that, there's a couple things that I want to bring up. One of that is being people's asking, well, why aren't you covering quote-unquote conspiracies anymore? And the thing is, I think we covered majority of them already. And
some of the conspiracies we talked about,
it's all coming to light. And the other thing is, folks, I don't like to go back and rehash everything that we did. If you do want to do that, you can go to our Facebook page, watch all the videos there, or onto our website, thestandshow.com, which we're going to have all our videos up on there as well, or YouTube page, or you can catch us on Twitter. So there's a lot of outlets you can catch us on. So if you don't want to necessarily go on Facebook, which a lot of people don't, you can just go on to our YouTube page or our website, which is the main site. We're still working on it. It's coming up. And
what's that site called?
It's thestandshow.com. Thestandshow.com. Share that website out. Blast it out to all your friends, because that's going to be our main thing that's going on right now. Because Facebook is kicking people off of it, mostly conservative groups like ourselves, along with multiple of other people outside of just being conservative. So the constriction of free speech is happening, folks. So.
So Shane, what's the majority that your piece that you're gonna talk about tonight?
I'm going to cover in the death threats and the mutiny that's happening within the White House and against Trump. So. And
then George,
I thought I'd chat a little bit about the judge in Hawaii who banned the ban. You know, he put a temporary restraining order on Trump's travel ban. Again, he cited it was because of the words Trump used during the campaign, which has nothing to do with the law. And if he was a real judge, he would know that.
All right, so we'll get into
that.
Oh,
I'm sorry. It does make me get into it. It just.
And then I will be going a little bit over Trump's skinny budget that he proposed yesterday.
Right, which is amazing stuff.
We're all very happy about it at this point.
Yeah, it's just lots of cuts.
and some money's where it's sorely needed. It's sorely needed. I never have a problem with the Department of Defense and the Pentagon getting money for the military.
Well, being an Army guy, I hope so. Hope not.
Yeah, I guess that could be why.
Yeah.
But I did before I was, so.
But anyways, going back into what I was originally saying, the reason why we don't cover the conspiracies and stuff like that is just simply that. We want you, there's a lot more things that are going on, other than, just pressing on conspiracies all the time. Now, do we know that there is a deep state government happening within? Yes. So is that conspiracy? No. Do we know that the Russians aren't hacking us? Yes, because it came out in Vault 7 leaks not too long ago.
Well, then you just had two Russian hackers just got or they were called Russian spies, the DOJ.
Right, exactly. But how do we know if they're really Russian spies?
That's what they said.
With all the stuff that came out in the last couple of weeks.
Well, the thing about a conspiracy theory, it isn't a conspiracy theory when it's proven.
Right, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. The conspiracies that we talked about are no longer become conspiracies. Are they poisoning us? Are they poisoning the water with lead, mercury, and everything else? Yeah.
Like Flint.
Yeah, Flint. Do they have stuff in the vaccines that aren't good for you? Yes. Do they have stuff going on in the air which they consider experimental? Yes. That's how they get away with it, because there are contrails, but then there's also chemtrails. So it's just a big thing where all this information is now coming to light, and so that's the reason why we're not really covering these quote conspiracies anymore, because it is factual.
Well, the funny thing about the conspiracy thing about the contrails and the chemtrails, and I used to always scoff at it. And then one day I was looking up at them and I was like, well, if they'll put fluoride in our water.
There you go.
I always just assumed it was atmospheric, moisture in the air, jet engine.
That's what everybody thinks until they start researching it.
Right, and
so
then they come out as
I don't
silver
know,
iodine.
but given what we've learned in recent history with our government, left or right, I don't trust them anymore. Now I'm a little bit more suspicious than I was before. And I didn't think that was possible.
Right, exactly. I mean, but the stuff is going on, and it's just crazy. Are the quote unquote this Illuminati or whatever secret organization? Yeah, there is, and they're Satanists.
Well, there's definitely globalists, and if that's the case, it's not too much of a stretch of an imagination to imagine that the globalists have somebody who's pulling their strings.
Right, exactly. So that was pretty much everything that we covered in a nutshell, except for I think we never really covered the Illuminati or whatever. But they're just
we covered pretty much
a
lot of things.
But essentially, they're just Satanists.
What was our first episode again?
Our first episode was Zika.
And there you go. And what happened to Zika?
Yeah, exactly.
Where'd it go?
Well, no, I actually saw a report in Brazil where they're dealing with the
Zika stuff right now?
The Zika suffering, the children that were born.
But after the Olympics left?
Yeah, well, it wasn't big news anymore because Zika could be going on like wildfire down there, and we would know because the media has an attention span of a gnat. And they're done with it because it's not big news because the Olympics aren't there. They don't care if poor people die in the ghetto from Zika. They only cared about it when they were gonna go there.
And then they were doing false news on it anyway, saying it like contributed to all sorts of these different kinds of diseases. And some scientists were like, "How are you getting that? Like, it doesn't. There's no correlation to how that happens."
Right.
And then the news is still spitting it out like it's like.
Well, the media's never let the truth and facts get in their way.
So. Well, there's that, and then also the climate change was a big hoax that came out. So all our stuff that we've been saying, ladies and gentlemen, is becoming factual and no longer a conspiracy. So that's it in a nutshell. I guess we'll just switch gears and move on from there.
So
I think we should dive into the budget because I think that's really hot right now.
The skinny budget?
Yeah.
All right. So Trump proposed a skinny budget that came out yesterday. Basically, the whole government's going to be fighting him on it for reasons of losing jobs and all your government jobs.
It's all money.
It's all about the money. It's about the pork. Whereas it's not about the money spent. It's about who gets it. It's about the divvying up of the pork in the budget. I'll just pick states out of the thin air. But if Vermont wants X amount of dollars for a base because it'll help them, they don't care if they take it away from Florida.
Right.
They'll fight tooth and nail for it.
Yeah.
Granted, we are 50 states now, and I want my state representatives up there fighting for my state, but not at the expense of the military or any national program that is provided by the United States government for our mutual protection.
Right.
So I'm going to go ahead and read just some of the agencies that are going to be taking a hit. If it does go through,
right?
Again, this is just proposed.
Exactly.
This is what he wants to do. There will be counter proposals, and then Trump will go into more proposals, and it'll change probably like 10, 15 times before it's actually over. So right now, the first one was he wants to cut. I'm going off of the USnews.com. The first big agency is the State Department. And he wants to cut 30% of the State Department.
That's good.
I applaud.
Yeah.
I applaud.
I'm all for smaller government.
Well, the State Department doesn't need to be bloated, and it has been because it's part of the deep state. If you ask me, that they're part
all
of
embedded in it.
They're all embedded. We don't need a top-down heavy government. We need like Reagan cut 10% of everybody.
Yeah.
And I think they should do it again because look how good it went after that.
Yeah. So. Can you name a few things the State Department actually does?
No, other than just they just show up every now and then and make some statements and go away. Sometimes I don't know what they do because I haven't seen them do anything productive in years. Well, I see that little tongue in cheek, but yeah.
So a 30% hit to them.
They could take it. They could take it.
They'll be perfectly fine.
They're bureaucrats. They'll shuffle some money and they'll get what they need.
Right. Or they'll steal it.
The next big one is one that Trump said he wants to get rid of totally is the Environmental Protection Agency.
I agree.
He wants to, this first cut, he wants to do 31% of the EPA.
Well, do you know where the EPA came from?
I do not.
The EPA was, Richard Nixon agreed to form the EPA because at the time, we didn't call them liberals, but the left, or whatever they were calling themselves at the time, wanted some protections for the environment. They wanted a body that could regulate factories and water and all this. And so he gave that to them so that they were like, here's what you've asked for, now be quiet. And they just took that ball and they've been running with it ever since. All they do is regulate companies, businesses into the ground.
So this is where the carbon tax came from, it's EPA, right?
Yeah.
It's where all this stuff comes from.
And another thing is, Trump did come out the other day and say he doesn't believe in this climate change. Because it is just a money-making scheme that is forming other agencies to make more money.
It's another scam. You know? It's all these people do is come up with these falsities and everything else like that, you know, for a scam, you know, to rip you, the American people, off. And that's why it's so important for you guys to help support us, you know, because we are on the brink of possibly losing our First Amendment, you know.
Oh, well, here, think about the EPA, and here's what they do. They tell you you can't produce a certain product because it'll pollute the water.
Right.
That's control.
It is.
We've given them the power to manipulate markets and industries through bureaucrats who are not elected, they're just forever entrenched, and some bureaucrat says, well, I think this should be regulated, and they all agree. That doesn't go through any kind of process where it's like, well, is that a good regulation? Because there are good regulations. Like children not working in sweatshops at the age of 7, that's a good regulation.
Right, exactly.
Telling a farmer in California he can't get enough water to water his crops because of the Delta smelt, which is not a native fish to the area anyway, so that it can live because it's endangered. Of course it's an endangered fish. It's in the wrong place. It's supposed to be back in China where it comes from. Yeah. Not in the Delta in the
Bay.
In the Bay.
Yeah.
So that's where they control everything, and that's just what gets it started. And I'm really against control. I think if you're only free if you're free to do what you want.
Right.
Within reason.
Within reason, you know. I'm not going to call for somebody's death. Like some people do on a daily basis, going against Trump. But anyways, continue.
So
we'll get back into that.
We'll go down to the next one. The Agriculture Department, he wants to cut it by 21%.
I'm okay with that.
I'm all for the cuts.
Yeah,
because you have to look at it. He's a businessman, and so when you have a failing company, he's coming into a failing company, which is on the brink of.
Well, that's what he is. He is a businessman.
Right, exactly. So he's coming in and trying to save America. You know it was really bleak.
A lot of people don't
it was
see
really
it that
bleak.
Way,
oh, the country. The
December.
day he got elected, this country had a giant cloud lifted off it, and I've seen hope and happiness where I didn't see it a year ago.
Right, exactly.
And he's doing everything he said he was going to do.
And
he's not
that's
stopping.
what they hate. They hate that. They hate that he's sticking to his guns and fulfilling all the promises that he made to the American people. His pledge, if you remember, I think he made it in December, to the American people. He's sticking to it.
Well,
and he's going to get it done. Executive orders or whatever. He doesn't want
50 days in.
Yeah, 50 days in, and he's already rocking the boat. Now, here's the thing: the establishment Republicans, they didn't want him there.
No.
But then when he won, they kind of.
Well, they have to play ball.
They kind of half-heartedly got behind him because they kind of in their head figured.
But they're still not with him.
No, they're still with him because here's what's happened. Remember, there was that little time where they were all kind of getting along. Yeah, they all kind of got along for a couple of weeks. And that's because they were thinking, well, he's in now, we'll make him one of us. Yeah. He'll have to play by our rules. And he's not. And it's driving both sides of the aisle crazy.
Right.
Because, back to the businessman thing, he has looked at these agencies and said, oh, that agency's way too fat. Where's my scissors? I'm going to cut the fat out of this. I mean, granted, some of these agencies are important, but they don't need to be as big as they are. Some of their budgets are gigantic.
Huge.
And those guys that have been sitting behind a desk, pushing papers around, looking on their computer at porn, going to the water cooler, and then going, hey, let's pass a regulation. Those guys can go look for a job in the private sector like the rest of us and see how they like it.
Right, exactly.
They don't need to be up there. Washington, D.C. has become Versailles. It's becoming the place where they're going to turn to us one day and say, you can eat cake.
Yeah. Yeah. For those who don't know, he's talking about Marie Antoinette.
Yeah, and look what happened to them.
So let me go to the next one after Agriculture Department. The Department of Labor, he wants to get that by 20%. Do you know what the Department of Labor does?
Yeah, monitor people working.
Moderate the people working.
Yeah.
Well,
They deal with the unions.
the unions, the regulations. Again, they came into existence under the premise: we'll make sure that the worker's not taken advantage of.
Right.
But I've dealt with the Department of Labor when I worked union and when I worked in other places. They're not on the side of the laborer. They're on the side of management.
Right.
Because management is where the money is.
Yeah.
There's no money in labor.
So what else you got?
So another one was he wants to cut the Department of Education by 14%. So
I mean, that's good.
um,
Well, yeah, and here's the thing with the education. This Common Core garbage that they're pitching to all the kids out there is not working. You know, it's not working. You know, we're just
especially here in
saying
Nevada.
we're always tied with Hawaii, man. That's for being honest. For being honest, I lived in Hawaii for 6 years. You know, and great people over there, fantastic people, and it's just not fair to the Hawaiians or even to you know, I mean, we're all citizens of the United States, but it's not fair to American citizens. You know, it's not fair. Imagine what, you know. There's just so, because I'm just trying to control my tongue because I get so mad. But anyways, it's just unfair that, you know, not everybody has the right to real education. You know, and that's a big thing for me because I love education. You know,
So what?
But anyways,
something funny about that is though, he said he was going to cut about 20 programs is what he's looking at in just all of the school districts in the country, and he says after all of those get cut, the school country or the country schools as a whole will get like a 1.4 billion increase in revenue just to spend
right
from cutting all those programs.
Well, if you cut fat away from one place and you give them
you can
some of the
distribute
money
it to
back,
everywhere else.
yeah, because then that money that they still have has to go to the programs that are better.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what programs the school district has anymore. I haven't paid attention to the school district in years since I haven't been in the school district for years, and my kids are grown. But I can't imagine it's gotten better.
No, it hasn't. You know, I mean, we just said it. When you're in tie for last place, you know, it doesn't matter. It could have been West Virginia or something like that. It doesn't matter. It's so horrible that you're even talking this way.
And another thing that he did during his presidential run was he proposed that he wanted to make defense first and the protection of our borders. So he is in that bill. He also put in a $54 billion increase, which is they said about 10% of the bill is going to be going into the Department of Defense.
It's good because that's one of his other promises, to beef up the military, make our military great again. You know, and you know, hopefully never use them, but in case
part of it
is
is the border wall. He wants to put 4.2 billion into that from
That's
this bill.
this year.
That's
Right.
from this bill.
Well, that's for the first year. And then
For the
next
first
year
year.
there'll be an additional funds to the wall.
And then there's probably like 20 to 30 more just smaller agencies that he just wants to just slowly just cut out. Just slowly just keep getting rid of agencies. Over in the long run, it'll save the country a ton of money.
hopefully billions.
Well, back in the 80s, Reagan cut taxes by a percentage I can't recall. But he cut taxes and tripled the revenue to the government.
Yeah,
The left cannot understand how that works. They refuse to believe it did work. They'll tell you that, you know, children went crazy or went without food and grandma got pushed off a cliff in the wheelchair and all that stuff that they've always done every year. But no, he tripled the income to the federal government, which allowed him to spend it on defense. I mean, let's face it, we outproduced the Soviet Union. We had more money than them. Whenever they tried to keep up with us, when we came up, the whole Star Wars program, that was just a program to outspend them.
you're not talking about
into
the movie.
ground. No, not the movie. For some of you youngers out there, there was they wanted the Star Wars defense system, which was a missile system designed to shoot down nuclear missiles entering our atmosphere. It really wasn't real. It was a black project to basically pay for the stealth and outspend the Russians, and it worked because they tried to keep up and they went bankrupt. and now they're not communism anymore.
Right, exactly.
Supposedly.
So I'll just talk a little bit more, and then we'll go ahead and move over to Shane's. But there's just a whole bunch of the heads of all these departments are coming out saying that they don't like it, they do like it. I'll give you an example of Maya McGuinness. She's the president of the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. So she says that, I guess this is 30% of his plan of the budget, and it only covers the next year and a half. She's saying that this is no good. She says we need 100% of a plan for the next 10 years.
More money in her pocket.
That's
all she wants.
She doesn't want a 30% plan for the next year and a half. So they're coming up with some weird things.
They are inventive. They are inventive.
Exactly. They're going to try everything in their power to not have this bill go through. Or if it does go through, they're going to tack on so many things, it's not going to be originally what it was.
Well, the government is good about taking a very simple idea and weighing it down with stupidity.
Right, exactly.
So.
You can have one piece of paper, which is a bill, and by the time they're done with it, it's 100 papers thick. So
I'll go to the next guy,
Yeah,
David McIntosh. He's the president of the Club for Growth. These are all federal departments. I've never heard of the Club of Growth.
I never heard of that either.
But
George?
I have absolutely no comment. I don't even know what that could be.
So he
stop
mocked, saying the weeping and gnashing of teeth by the various bureaucrats and politicians over this budget. He said that Trump administration is beginning, this is what he said, the much needed work of major cuts in agencies like the EPA, the ending and waste of taxpayer dollars that are being poured into things like federally funded TV and radio.
Oh, you're talking about NPR? PBS?
NPR doesn't need a nickel from anybody. If they're public radio, let the public pay for it.
If they choose to.
If they choose to. They don't compete in the market like every other radio
That's what
station.
this guy's saying. He's like, yeah, cut all that.
Yeah, cut it all.
Yeah, NPR was 25 years ago was the station to go to if you wanted to hear classical music in the afternoon. Now it's just a bunch of liberal hogwash.
Right, exactly. Same with PBS. They started off great educational programs. I mean, they still do, but I mean,
it's just video indoctrination now.
Exactly. You took the words out of my mouth.
One more guy. His name is Michael Brune. He's the executive director of the Sierra Club.
Must be somewhere over here.
If his saying
Club.
was, have you heard of Sierra Club?
Yeah, my whole life. They're the people that make sure that you can't go hiking or driving off road or hunting.
Wait! Don't they already have an organization called the?
It's like BLM or something.
Yeah, BLM, right?
Oh no! They have to have
not Black Lives Matter, Bureau of Land Management.
Yeah, Bureau of Land Management.
Yes.
But no, the Sierra Club is the driving force behind. They're the people who petitioned to make the regulations at the EPA that control our lives.
Oh, so more EPA people.
Basically, yes.
All right, so awesome. He said, if Trump refuses to be serious about protecting our health and climate or our publicly owned lands, then Congress must act and do its job and reject this rigged budget.
Yeah, it's so full. That's cool because even in his address to Congress, he said we're going to clean up the water and clean up the air. You don't need a EPA agency to go about doing that. You don't need all these worthless jobs. Do we need to protect our environment? Yes, of course we do. This is the only planet that we're capable of living on. But at the same time, we don't need somebody regulating what's common sense. But then again, it's not so common anymore.
One of the things that have always amazed me about the left, they've always said that Republicans, or as I like, or conservatives, all we want is dirty air and water. Like, we don't live and breathe here, too.
I know, right?
I like to go hunting on occasion. Don't hate me because I go hunting, but I haven't done it for years. But I don't want to go out and hunt every deer to extinction.
No.
Because then I won't get to go next year. And
no one does.
Yeah, and if you don't call the herd once in a while, they overpopulate, they run out of food, and they starve to death.
Yes.
And that's why there's a whole thing for the licenses, for permits.
And they hold a lotto, and not everybody gets to go.
No.
And so you get to go up, you're a responsible hunter, you do everything like you're supposed to, garbage in, garbage out. I mean, the whole thing. I swear, Republicans and conservative people are more conscientious. Yes, that word. Than the liberals, because if you remember Occupy Wall Street, when those guys left the park, it was so gross they had to tear it down.
If it had been even recently,
if they had been conservatives, we'd have planted flowers and hauled our garbage out.
Yeah. Right. No, but even recently, through the Trump protests, the Women's March and everything, there was so much garbage left over, they didn't know what to do about it, you know?
It's funny that they talk a good game, but they just don't ever do it.
They don't ever walk the walk.
They always talk about being liberal and tolerant. They're the most intolerant people I've ever met.
Of course.
The liberals, just the other day, were making fun of the First Lady and her accent. One hand, we have to let all immigrants in. On the other hand, they make fun of an immigrant's accent.
But if they're on their side.
Yeah, I forget.
She's not on their side. I mean, she fits a profile and everything. She fits a profile. It's just she's not on their side. So it's the hypocrite of the left is just insane. Anyways,
right, so let's move on to
switching gears. We're going to be talking about the mutiny against Trump. Also, death threats against Trump. I mean, they're all over the place. But now it's got a little bit more personal with the actor / rapper Bow Wow. He used to be Little Bow Wow, but now he grew up apparently. So now he's
talking about Bow Wow first.
I want to call him. Can I still call him Little Bow Wow?
You can still.
I love the way that just rolls off the tongue. Little Bow Wow.
I think that's what he used to go by.
Yeah,
first.
it was his original name when he was a Little Bow Wow.
Small Bow Wow.
Yeah. But no, I'm going to keep calling him that because until he acts like an adult, he's going to be Little Bow Wow.
So those who don't know, he's also.
Most people don't know.
Right, exactly. He's actually Snoop Dogg's nephew. So, anyways,
Snoop Dogg was also in this video, right? Too.
Yeah, he did his own video.
Okay.
So what started all this stuff between Bow Wow and Trump is Snoop Dogg. So basically, Snoop Dogg's new music video portrays basically a clown that looks like Trump, and he executes him with the .357 Magnum, and calls for
He also says some choice words in there.
Yeah, he does. It does, and he also goes on saying that we should spray down the police, basically kill authority and stuff like that. You know, and it's just I see all these people trying to fit in with this new narrative. You know.
Well, it's cool to hate Trump right now.
Right, it is, and so he's banking off the whole thing. Where you hate Trump, I'm going to make more money. I'm going to try to stir trouble. Now look. No,
but here, the example is he made a video that none of us would have known about, except he pointed a plastic gun at a clown-faced Trump. He did that because he knew we would talk about it.
Get reaction.
He knew we'd get reaction. His career mate, whether it's failing or not, I don't know because I don't pay attention to the guy. But he's done this. He's climbed aboard the bandwagon. It's all about him.
Right. But at the same time, the magnitude of what this represents to all those ignorant people out there, I'm trying to hold my tongue, to all the ignorant people out there, is showing them, hey, it's okay to go and kill your president, Now, put that, what if it was Obama? Say it was Eminem, a white rapper, right? That went and killed Obama. Imagine the outcry then.
Well, it'd be racist.
It'd be racist, right? Exactly.
I know he's a rapper. He might get a pass, but it'd be close call.
It'd be very close.
He'd probably just be run out of town. But this is the thing that they do. They dehumanize somebody, which is exactly what the Germans did to the Jews during World War II.
Right.
Well, if anybody out there, pay attention to your history. This will teach you things.
Well, the history is the key of the future.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing. If they dehumanize him or make him a caricature, then we don't have to take him serious. And then if something happens, we don't care.
Right, exactly. But this is just one of the assassination plots that they've been saying for a while now. All over Twitter, kill Trump. MSM, the mainstream media, kill Trump. Take him out. Somebody has to kill him. Loretta Lynch came out recently. Blood is on the streets.
No, she wants blood.
Blood on the streets, right? Actively calling for a civil war.
She said something about saying we need more resistance, more rioting, more protesting, more death.
Right, exactly. It's just crazy. So anyways, Trump then replied
That's inciting riots.
It's inciting violence, exactly. Her speech should...
It only applies to the right.
Right,
The left
exactly.
can do it all day long.
So
Free speech at that point.
Well, you got to get your double standard intact. Otherwise, you're going to just have nothing but troubles with this.
Exactly. If you're confused, it all makes sense. Anyways, President Trump then responded, can you imagine the outcry it would be if Snoop Dogg failing career at all had aimed a gun at President Obama? It would be jail time.
And what site are you reading this from?
It's coming from the Huffington Post. And so...
Huffington Post are a liberal group, so...
Right, exactly. And so Bow Wow would then respond, Ayo, at Donald Trump, shut your punk ass up talking blank about my uncle Snoop Dogg before we pimp your wife and make her work for us. So now it's only inciting violence, but now he's telling the president, we're going to take your wife and make her a sex slave.
Yeah, well, that's okay. That's for him, that he can say that because
he's a rapper.
He's a rapper. That's his culture.
Right, exactly. So now he's probably going to get promoted, and who knows, he's going to be starting his own talk show or something else
label.
like that. Yeah,
have his own label.
Exactly.
Well, again, no one's been following Snoop Dogg. I haven't heard of Little Bow Wow in a long time. Now he's in the news. They know how to play the game.
It's playing the game, but at this point...
But again, they'll cause something to happen. They'll do enough of it that somebody sitting at home will take it serious and act on it because they've made that acceptable.
Exactly.
When bad behavior becomes acceptable, people will commit bad behavior.
Exactly. And that's what the mainstream media, the enemy media, the ones who excite violence and want all this to happen, who's been paid off by corporations and big banks to excite this violence. You know? All the time they show all the anti-Trump rioters, all the time, going up beating white women because they're white, and it's even worse if you have a "Make America Great" hat again.
Well, that was the video of the woman being sprayed with pepper spray.
Pepper spray also.
Now, if that had been reversed, it would still be on the news. Well, that was months ago.
Right.
If you watch that whole video, as she walks away after she got pepper sprayed, she said, "I deserve that."
Well, that's the other...
I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear that either.
Who deserves to get pepper sprayed? When I saw, she was just standing there.
No, because she goes up to him and then hits him.
We talking about the same one?
Probably.
Girl in a pink shirt, blonde hair?
She got pepper sprayed, turned around, started walking away.
By a black gloved hand.
Yeah, just someone out there, just the crowd pepper sprayed her.
Well, did she assault them?
Yeah.
Well, then if you assault somebody, you get pepper sprayed, it's your own damn fault.
Right.
So she assaulted the guy, turned around, started walking away after she got pepper sprayed, and was like, "I deserve that." But of course, the news never played that.
Right. They're just going to excite violence, trying to keep it going. That it's okay to beat Trump supporters, or if you're white, like radio host Michael Savage, who's just enjoying
he was
lunch,
he was in an Italian restaurant,
dinner with his dog.
Teddy.
Yeah, exactly. And both of them got beat up. I mean, the guy's like 75 years old. I mean, come on, man. How much harm is he really doing to you in San Francisco?
The guy that actually hit Michael Savage.
People piss me off, man. It's horrible what the hell they're doing, man.
This is how we have to fight them, just like this.
Yeah, okay, so they're firing shots politically. I'm going after them politically. This is what we're doing. That's why we're taking a stand for liberty. That's why you have to support us. Share our website. But anyways, if they want to fire the first shot, let them, physically, because we're not coming after physically yet until they start it. And bet your ass, I'm going to be there. I'm going to fight you. I'm going to fight you guys. I'm tired of them.
Well, they kicked his dog too.
Well, that's just...
After they beat him up, they kicked the dog.
That's okay. Michael Savage will play this through the courts. The guy that punched him will
probably
get sued. He won't go to jail, but it'll become a civil thing. They'll claim there were no witnesses or whatever. Because I heard him on the radio today. He was talking about it. He didn't say much because they've already started the legal process. Yeah, and that's how you have to beat these people. You have to beat them in the courts. You have to beat them in the bureaucracy. The first step we got to do is Trump's got to get them all out. He's got to drain the swamp. He's got to purge the bureaucracies and start fresh.
He did that a little bit last week with all the U.S. attorneys that were from Obama's.
Yeah, and they all screamed bloody murder when he did it, but everybody forgets Bill Clinton did exactly the same thing to all of them.
He went double.
He
did it
fired
to 90
all of them. 93. I believe it was. 93
exactly.
attorney generals gone.
And
Here's your
then
papers.
you had that one attorney general, or the one U.S. U.S. attorney, Preet Bharara, or whatever his name is. He was like, I'm not resigning until I'm fired.
You're fired.
Next day, he's fired.
Come on, he gave the guy who had a show whose catchline was "You're fired" the opportunity to say "You're fired."
Right.
I thought you couldn't have planned that better. But you know they do it every administration. Everybody comes in and cleans house.
So what they were saying with that guy though was they were saying he was actually doing an investigation on Trump at the time. That's why he got fired.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if he was or not. There are plenty of other junior lawyers or prosecutors or whoever in that office. They could have done it. Those guys don't handle much cases anyway. They're just figureheads. They're just the boss of a much larger group of attorneys. So it's no different than the CEO of a company changing hands. So,
Anyways.
and I did laugh about it. I did see the humor in it.
Right, exactly. I mean, to go as low. Okay, so in Florida, South Florida, they have the VA clinic over there, where Army Ranger vet just happens to go in as regular visits and notice that after 2 months of President Trump being in office, that there's no a portrait of him or the actual guy in charge of the VA. No pictures have been hung up since Obama left, right? So anyways, he goes home, prints out the official size, get it framed and everything, comes back, tries to hang up on the wall. He gets yelled at by the security guard over there in his face and basically kicked out, So now he got a hold of the congressman out there, comes back with the congressman himself and a couple other vets to actually make it official to hang the two portraits up. Right, exactly. The audacity of these people to go back after the congressman had official printed pictures. They go back and take it off the wall, and then the spokesperson of the VA says, or of the clinic says, oh, they weren't officially from the headquarters of the VA. So therefore, they took them down as direct defiance. And these institutions now have gone to the point where they can't.
They become rogue.
They become rogue, and now Trump, like we just said, needs to drain the swamp. He needs to personally go down to these clinics and route them. Route all these agencies, show up, and say and lay down. He doesn't have the time, but
he only sleeps like 3 hours a night anyway.
I know, it's crazy,
Let's
but
not
something.
cut into the man's sleep even more.
I know, but something needs to happen to these places because all they're doing is squatting on the people who defended the country.
Well, as maybe most people don't know, that every time you go into a government building, especially if it's a military installation, you will see
people are sick, man.
You will see the picture of the president, the vice president, depending on the installation, Joint Chief of Staff, whoever is
atop the leadership
of that particular building. These are changed immediately when the president changes.
The day,
the
20th of January, the shit should have been changed.
They do it in a ceremony.
Sorry, it's a family show. I apologize.
They do it in a ceremony. It's the way it's done. It's same thing with the colors. They just said no. I'm gonna be. You're right. It's a mutiny. I've always said it's a silent coup. And this country, and for some of you who know me, we've studied military history a little bit. It's one of our hobbies. The mood right now is so close to the mood before the Civil War in the 1800s.
Yes, it is.
And
Elaborate.
I'm afraid.
Because not a lot of people know their history anymore, George. And this is key. Go.
I see people on a daily basis, and people are telling me that over this election, that families did not come together for Christmas. The left, and it's mostly the left. I mean, they refuse to fraternize with us traitors, us fascists. And for those of you out there who keep using that word, go look it up. You use the word without knowing the meaning of the word fascist. It's scary the direction this country's gone. The animosity for no reason. We've had a peaceful transition of power. We did it 8 years ago. It's now time for you guys to put on your big boy pants and suck it up and spend hopefully the next 8 years getting along, just like we did. We may not have liked it, but we did not riot, we did not burn, we did not pillage.
They only did that for the first month and a half so far.
Oh, it still goes on.
It still goes on. There's plenty of riots. Still,
It doesn't make the news much.
No, because they don't want to cover it. They don't want to cover it. Just because
paints
of the
them
fact.
in a bad picture.
Exactly.
Every time.
Every time. You got the people in the black outfits going around, beating people up, destroying property, and thinking that it's fun and cool. But
Don't get a headache over all this. We're here to help and entertain.
It's just horrible. Anyways,
Go down, George.
yeah. So, anyways,
We have some comments. Thank you to everybody who's commenting on our page on Facebook. Let's see if we have any questions.
anyways, John McCain recently came out. Yeah, go ahead. John McCain recently came out saying that Rand Paul is basically working for the Russians because he's not agreeing with the NATO trade deals. And so now we're back at it again, where everybody's a Russian agent, just like Trump and everybody else, because they're not agreeing with the whole globalist policies and stuff.
All right. So one of the questions is, this is from Wendy. What I don't understand, why the president isn't doing anything about these jerks. They should all be arrested. I know he's aware of these haters, but not doing anything about it if he's perpetrating others to do the same sick stuff.
Well, I mean, if we were to, what are we going to do? Send out squads to
To squash him?
to squash him? Then we'll just be called, Nazis more
Or
often.
you'll be attacking their First Amendment.
Yes, I mean we're stuck in a spot where, as law-abiding citizens, and we can't enforce our will on our countrymen. They have to come around on their own. Yes, if it was up to me, if I was king, there'd be a lot of trouble going on out there because there'd be martial law. Heads would roll. But I'm not king, and I don't want to be. But I guess it'd be better to be king than president.
You'd be a monarchy.
That'd be a monarchy. Yes, it'd be much easier. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I just know that if they get out of control,
the police are there.
the police is not. They don't have to worry about the police. They have to worry about the guard.
Yeah.
If they have to call out the guard, which I wouldn't hesitate if it gets too bad, it's a whole new set of rules. Guaranteed.
You get one warning.
Now look, what I'm
I
understanding.
know we're getting ahead of ourselves. But
With Trump and everything else like that, I don't think he wants to attack the groups yet, because he still wants to play the whole bipartisan role. That's why you really see this.
Well, he's only been in for a month and a half.
Exactly.
He doesn't want to start a civil war in first 2 months.
And that's the other part of it. So he has to play nice. He has to sort of let these people, hopefully after the first couple of months, we're already 2 months in, hopefully by the third month, these people will actually understand, hey, I'm trying to, help the country instead of hurt it. So I think by looking at everything he's done so far, I think that's the direction he's trying to go. So, Wendy, I hope that answers your question the best we could.
and if not,
with our breakdown analysis.
We'll try again next week. It's a really complicated thing dealing with anarchists.
Right, exactly.
They want anarchy. If they can spread it by being anarchists, they'll only generate more, which is their goal anyway.
Right, exactly.
There was actually something that came out about the anarchists today in Portland, Oregon. They were saying they're the ones that actually build the roads and fix the roads.
Wait, try that again? Because that bounced right off my common sense.
There was a...
That's like a deer in the headlights look like. Are you serious? You just said this? This has to be some fake news article.
It was...
Lay that on me again?
Anywho,
let me get it for you.
Okay, so while he's talking about looking up the article, folks, go to our website, thestandshow.com. They are censoring people around Facebook. They're censoring people all around YouTube. So it's key that you hit up our website, support it, share it, because if they do shut us down on Facebook, we will definitely be on our website, and you can go back onto all of our previous shows and stuff like that, and just share the link. We are listener supported, so we need you, the listener, the viewer, to go and support us.
So
to all you anarchists that are out there thinking you're building roads, I've built roads. It's not as easy as it looks, and I don't know what you're building it with.
They had pictures of
I don't want to look at their doctor Photoshop pictures.
Of them like stamping the road down. And,
oh.
And like weird poses and stuff, but
Well, this is the socialist program. They're doing it for the people.
For the people.
For the people.
Anarchy.
Well, they want to show that everybody should get out and build their own roads. That's
All
the
right,
first step.
So for the people at home, you have one guy, of course, in the anarchist attire, wearing all black
With the mask on.
with the mask, and you have this other kid in like
work boots.
no, it's not work boots. It's like
rubber boots or something.
yeah, rubber boots, posing as some construction worker, and all they're doing is standing in the middle of the street with two cones, and basically, you know.
They got they got the SAMP thing that
Yeah,
pushes
it's a little
the
hand, it's a little hand tamper. Just for just a little point of reference, for those of you who like to wear the anarchist uniform, which is the black hoodie, the black mask, black pants, I just want you to know from a distance it looks just like a silhouette target. Just so you know, I've been training for this my whole life.
Right, exactly. But here's the thing: we're not looking for the fight.
No, we're not even advocating it.
Right.
I want to sit home comfortably in my easy chair. I don't want this kind of issue or problem.
Exactly. But you keep pushing the American people, and we're only going to take so much.
There are guys out there with a lot shorter fuses than anybody here.
Yes.
And
So-
who are well equipped and. Well,
Sorry for that.
that was a little bit of a deflection, but it was
Eh,
humorous in its
yes.
own way.
All right, so George, go ahead and let's hear what you got to talk about.
Oh, this is just brief. I mean, I know everybody's heard about this. If you've watched the news for 4 seconds today, you know about the judge in Hawaii put a
So
temporary.
is she the first or the second one to do it?
He was the first one only because of the way it fell time wise, but I guess one in Maryland did it too.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's
And then I got something to say for why, or let's. Do you know why the Hawaii judge did it?
yeah, it's at the very end of the article, but basically he put the kibosh, to use an old term, on the travel ban because there are a whole host of reasons. One of them was that Muslims who live in Hawaii, their relatives wouldn't be able to come and visit. And I've been to Hawaii, I didn't see a whole lot of Muslims there.
No.
And because that
Maybe 0.5% of the
they
population.
said that was because it would damage their
Yeah.
tourism. But there's a lot of nonsense, a lot of stuff that we won't bore you with. Let me see where that last one was.
But there is one key point. Before.
It was the key point. Yeah, I saw it earlier. I forgot to highlight it. Go ahead,
Anyways,
throw it out there. I can't find it.
I'll help you out here. Someone made a trip to this judge about 4 hours before.
Oh yeah, that's right. Obama made the trip out.
That's right. They
That's
were in the
right.
same place at the same time. I think I hear collusion.
4
Since
hours
that's a new word
before
now.
that guy,
Right.
before that judge came out.
He didn't need Obama. He made that decision.
But he
a
was
week
being
ago.
helped and told what to do.
But here's the funny thing: the Department of Justice said they strongly disagreed with the ruling and called the move flawed in both reasoning and scope. Now, the Justice Department is not exactly a bastion of right-wing thinking. So when they tell you you're flawed in both reasoning and scope, you might just be flawed.
Right, exactly. I mean, before his travel ban now, I don't have the picture on me, where it talks about actually the presidential powers that he has to ban any
Well,
group.
we already came out and
Yeah, well,
we had that
discussed
code.
it. Exactly, we discussed it.
And
But
we put the code that was what section it was from,
Right.
and
We've discussed numerous times that the right of the president to ban any class of alien
Thank you.
is legal. It is so legal, it's never been an issue ever before. And people forget that for many years in this country, there wasn't just a ban on particular countries. There was a total ban on immigration for several decades so that the people in this country could assimilate and adapt to our culture. They're coming in so fast. If I see one more Mexican flag tracksuit or, Armenian tracksuit or, beanie, I mean, be proud of your heritage, but you're here. You're America first. If you
I
don't,
agree.
it's amazing. They race here. They'll die to get here, but
because
then they
they're
get
trying to
here.
escape their countries.
Yeah, they're trying to escape a country. They come here, and the first thing they want to do is bitch about this country being so bad. If you don't like it here, I hate to quote my forefathers, love it or leave it.
It's true though, I hate to bring up my mom's side of the family, but every time it's a perfect example. They came here to be Americans. They left Argentina because it was a crap hole.
And look where it is now.
It's horrible. It's one of the failing states, just like Venezuela. It's the same thing going on. They escaped that, folks. They escaped that to come here, and they spent a month over at Ellis Island before moving to California. So I don't want to hear none of this crap, where it's so bad to ban these people. Come here the right way, do what you have to do, and
become a citizen.
Become a citizen, and make America great. Because if it's great for America, it's also going to be great for you. It's going to be great for all your family to come after that.
I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to live in a country that's, well, less than America. I can't fathom. I've traveled.
I traveled,
and
it's horrible.
It's one thing to visit, but I mean,
To live there.
To live there. I mean,
look,
it's the little things. It really is the little things.
Like, could you think about doing this, what we're doing here in another country?
Only if we did it from a secure location with a whole bunch of routers that looked like we were in another city, maybe.
Yeah.
If we're like
ghost IP addresses.
Yeah, ghost IP. We'd have
10 feet underground.
Yeah.
For a better part of my life, I was in Iraq, Afghanistan for 4 years of my life. There was no way these people. Well, first off, there's no way that they can even get something on this scale, and we're small.
Well, unless you're terrorists.
Well, they have trouble with getting electric lights.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's no way to get to where just even the small scale that we call small. This is a big operation.
We're
Philippines, Middle East. Even our Mexico, and even further south. This is a pretty big operation, but we're basic. Anyways, that's why we need your support. We want to grow. Share the link. thestand.com. Share that to all your friends, because that is the key, folks. That's the key. Blast it out.
Yeah, the more Americans use their freedom of speech, because we do have it too. We have the freedom of speech too. Don't be shouted down by the socialists out there, the ones who want to tell you that they're compassionate and caring and tolerant. They're tolerant of everybody but you. They're compassionate for everybody but you, because you don't agree with them. Now, for all you socialists that might be watching, I want you to, again, here's your homework. Research the word socialist. You'll find it in the word Nazi. For those of you who don't know, Nazis, which you continue to call us, stands for the National German Socialist Workers' Party. There's that socialist word in there, so be careful how you throw that word around. None of us are socialists. Sorry, it didn't work out right, but you know what I'm trying to say.
It's fine.
We're on a roll here. We're all heated up.
But anyways,
socialism's bad.
It really is.
It is. It's horrible.
This country was based on individualism.
Not unless you want to just stay at home and be on social welfare.
Yeah, well,
and not do anything.
I don't know who said it, but it's an old saying, and I just heard it the other day, and I meant to go look it up and write it down for tonight, but I forgot. It basically work is
free.
No.
You talking about the German quote?
No. It was about work is the great provider. You get up off your couch, you turn off the Xbox, you pull your pants up. I can't stand that. And go out and get a job. You'll be happier for it. Work makes you happy.
It does.
If you just sit at home and lay on the couch and eat Fritos and do nothing and wait for your check to show up, yeah, you'll exist. But your mind will never get better. Your soul will never get better. You'll become a child of the state. And the government is not going to take care of you. And if you think they will take care of you, go find a Native American Indian and ask them how well it turned out for them. The government will not take care of you. It will keep you just alive. Well, now it's all kinds, but
yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's a different thing now. Now they got casinos, but I'm saying 100 years ago. So, oh well, that's my lecture for the week.
Anyways, folks, again, continue to support us. Again, the website is thestandshow.com. Please share that link. I'm not going to stress it enough, because in case they happen to take us off Facebook, YouTube, or whatever platform, we have the website left. So, and hopefully they don't ban that, even though the quote-unquote creator of the internet said that we must start cracking down on, conservative people. And so they're not going to label it as fake news or label us as fake news, but we might violate their terms and conditions some way, somehow. They won't give an explanation, but we might.
Maybe we'll just call ourselves entertainment.
Yeah.
We're entertainers. We're entertainment. I'm not a journalist. Never pretend to be.
Well, I'm a citizen journalist. I don't know about you.
No, I'm an opinionated humorist.
All right. So again, this is Shane, Lance, and George with The Stand. Take the stand for liberty, freedom, and humanity. And share the links, folks. Share this link.
Tell your
Blast it out
friends.
to all your friends.
Tell your friends.
All right. This is Take the Stand for liberty, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night.
Shane, Lance, and George out.